Let's take you to Alligator Head, a famous coastal spot at the west end of the La Jolla Cove in San Diego, California, where a terrifying event occurred. Robert Pamperin was enjoying his diving session with his friend Gerald Lyer, all in the deep waters of Alligator Head, when a massive great white shark suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Instantly, their peaceful dive turned into a nightmare they would never forget. Hello, and welcome to Amazing Animal Stories. Today's video is all about the horrifying last minutes of Robert Pamperin. However, before we begin, we would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon. Let's get started. La Jolla Cove is one of the most famous tourist spots in La Jolla. This small cove is nestled in the midst of the towering cliffs, and it's the perfect location for scuba diving, swimming, and snorkeling. The marine life here is abundant and the water is colder and clearer, making it a favorite spot for divers. The underwater visibility can sometimes exceed 30 feet, attracting divers from all over Southern California. However, the open ocean can occasionally create large and powerful waves at high tide. Although there's only a tiny patch of dry sand on the beach, the cove's tide pools are exposed during low tide. But amidst the beauty and popularity of La Jolla Cove, a dark past hides in plain sight. In June 1959, one of the most terrible shark attacks in San Diego occurred at Alligator Head, just a short distance from Jolla Cove. On June 14, 1959, while most people were still fast asleep, Robert Pamperin woke up early on a Sunday morning. Looking out his window, he realized the weather was not in his favor. It was not a good day to go to the ocean. However, Robert and his friend Gerard had planned this day for a long time. They wanted to hunt for abalone, a large marine snail found in the chilly waters of New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Japan, and the west coast of North America. Abalone is prized for its exquisite meat and deep flavor, making it a culinary delicacy and one of the most expensive types of seafood. Robert and Gerard planned to sell some of their catch for a good price, knowing Alligator Head had a thriving abalone population in its deep waters. However, hunting for abalone can be challenging, especially because these creatures prefer to stay hidden during the day. Since abalone are nocturnal creatures, they tend to feed at night and stay away from well-lit areas during the day. This meant that Robert and Gerard had to wait till later in the day to start their hunt. In the meantime, the two friends decided to take their girlfriends to the beach to enjoy time under the sun. While the girls were relaxing on the shore, Robert and Gerard planned to head out to Alligator's Head to hunt. Robert got ready for the day like any other day. He had breakfast and listened to the news, unaware that his day would become a nightmare. Hunting for abalone can be physically demanding, so Robert planned to free drive later on. He packed light, bringing only a few essential items, including blue swim fins, a pink bathing suit, a black mask, black diving gloves, and a yellow-handled abalone iron. The abalone iron is a special tool to extract abalone from rock without harming them. Additionally, he brought with him a black inner tube with a burlap sack attached to it. Robert and his girlfriend drove to La Jolla Cove, where they met up with Gerard and his girlfriend. Despite the overcast weather, the group decided to go ahead with their plans. They spent the day lounging on the beach and taking in the beautiful views of the San Diego Ocean. Later in the afternoon, Robert and Gerard prepared their equipment and headed towards Alligator Head for their hunt. The water was murky, making it difficult to see, but the two friends were determined to dive and search for their catch. Robert and Gerard put on their diving gear and jumped into the water. As experienced divers, they knew the risk of diving in the ocean. As an aircraft manufacturer engineer, Robert was careful and prepared for the dangers. They were reassured by the fact there had been no fatal shark attacks in the area before. As they swam, they looked for abalone hidden in rocks at the bottom of the ocean. They quickly spotted a couple of them and dove deeper. With one hand holding the iron and the burlap sack, they carefully removed the abalone without damaging them. They had to work fast because they were free diving and didn't have an air tank to help them breathe. The men had gone abalone hunting, and after a while, they came up to breathe some fresh air. However, fate had other plans as the waves separated the two friends. Slowly and steadily, Robert and Gerard drifted away from each other until they were quite distant apart. Suddenly, a massive great white shark swam underneath Robert, moving its head menacingly. the shark mistook Robert for its prey and went in for the attack, causing chaos in the water. With its massive jaws, the shark devoured Robert's lower body, causing him to scream in agony for help. Gerard saw his friend in distress but initially thought he had a cramp. However, he soon realized something was amiss when he saw Robert disappear into the water, leaving behind a cloud of blood. Gerard dove deeper into the water to try and rescue his friend. Gerard saw the gruesome sight of the great white shark devouring Robert's lower body. The shark was massive and estimated to be around 7 meters long. Robert tried to fight off the beast by thrashing around, but the shark was too strong and dragged him into the ocean's depths. Gerard quickly swam towards the motion, waving his hands to scare the shark away. Unfortunately, the shark was too focused on its prey and didn't budge. It had clamped its jaws tightly around Robert's lower body, and his legs stuck inside. Suddenly, the shark started shaking its head violently, trying to tear Robert apart. Realizing that he couldn't do anything to help his friend, Gerard swam back to shore and alerted the lifeguards, who then called the authorities. 10 experienced scuba divers were sent out in search for Robert, but after 2 hours of combing the area, they couldn't find anything, not even his clothes or gear. However, a few days later, a swim fin with rows of shark teeth washed up on the Lahala beach with Robert's initials on it. This discovery raised suspicions about Gerald's involvement in the incident, and he became the subject of a subsequent investigation. Unfortunately, Gerard's statement was backed up by William Abbott, who witnessed the attack from a nearby rock formation. His account of the incident matched Gerard's story. Despite this, some people remained skeptical and refused to believe that a great white shark was responsible for Robert's attack. Instead, they preferred to think it was a killer whale, but Gerard was confident that it was a great white shark that he saw. During the investigation, 4 crucial events were discovered that may have contributed to Robert's tragic fate. Firstly, divers were spearing yellowtail fish less than 2 hours before the attack. Sharks are known to be attracted to the low-frequency vibrations caused by the commotion and speared fish. Secondly, the U.S. Navy sailor had badly lacerated himself on the adjacent rocks earlier in the day, losing a lot of blood in the water, which would have attracted the shark. Thirdly, around 600 meters to the west of the area, a group of harbor seals were perched on the rocks. And lastly, the most significant contribution and factor was the dead whale that had washed up ashore 800 meters to the north of where Robert was attacked the night before. It's believed that the bodily fluids from the dead whale may have attracted the shark, leading to Robert's tragic fate. The currents and winds may have spread the fluids widely, drawing unwanted attention from the shark. In November of 1960, over a year after the attack, geologists discovered a skeleton at the bottom of a submarine canyon 650 yards off Lahala. The coroner examined the skeleton and concluded that it fit Robert's description. What happened to Robert was a tragic event. Whether you are an experienced swimmer or diver, you must understand that there are factors outside of your control that can affect your safety in the ocean. Remember, when you enter the water, you are entering the shark's territory. These creatures can grow up to 7 meters long and easily consume you whole. Even in areas with no previous shark attacks, you must take proper precautions to avoid becoming a victim. Don't let your guard down, and always be aware of your surroundings.